In the annals of American criminal history, few names evoke a chill quite like Ted Bundy, a man who shattered the illusion of safety in the 1970s.
He wasn't the monster you expected to see lurking in the shadows. He was handsome, educated, and charming, wearing a mask of sanity that fooled everyone. Between 1974 and 1978, Bundy orchestrated a cross-country reign of terror, confessing to 30 homicides, though the true number remains a haunting mystery to this day. To understand the darkness, we have to look past the media circus that surrounded his trials and examine the cold, calculated method of a predator who hunted in plain sight. It began in the Pacific Northwest, where young women started vanishing without a trace, leaving police baffled and communities paralyzed with fear. Witnesses reported seeing a man, often wearing a cast on his arm or using crutches, asking for help with his car, a ploy designed to exploit human empathy. This was his signature modus operandi, a trap that lured victims into a false sense of security before they were overpowered and abducted. As the disappearances mounted in Washington, the name Ted began to circulate, overheard by witnesses at Lake Sammamish State Park on a crowded summer day. Despite a composite sketch being released, those who knew Bundy personally refused to believe that the polite law student could be capable of such atrocities. Feeling the heat from the investigation, Bundy moved to Utah in 1974 for law school, but the change in scenery only brought the darkness to a new hunting ground. In Utah, the pattern continued, but a failed abduction attempt of Carol Duranch gave police their first real break and a living witness who could identify him. Stopped by a patrol officer for a traffic violation in a residential neighborhood, police found a terrifying kit in his car: a ski mask, a crowbar, and handcuffs. He was arrested and eventually convicted for the kidnapping of Duranch, but authorities had no idea they had a serial killer of this magnitude in custody.
While awaiting trial for murder in Colorado, Bundy orchestrated one of the most brazen escapes in criminal history, jumping from a courthouse library window.
He was captured days later, lost and wandering in the mountains. But the system underestimated him again, and he began planning a second, more permanent escape. Months later, he carved a hole in the ceiling of his jail cell, slimmed down to fit through the crawl space, and walked out into the cold night, vanishing completely. By the time authorities discovered his cell empty the next morning, Bundy was already halfway to Florida, shedding his identity and assuming a new one. Tallahassee, Florida, January 1978. Bundy, now unraveling and desperate, broke into the Chi Omega sorority house, unleashing a frenzy of violence in under 15 minutes. The attacks were savage and chaotic, a departure from his calculated abductions, signaling a man who had lost all control and was spiraling towards his end. Even then, he didn't stop. He attacked another student nearby and then a 12-year-old girl in her home before finally being apprehended in a stolen vehicle in Pensacola. This time, there would be no escape. The subsequent trials became the first to be nationally televised, turning a murder trial into a macabre spectator sport. Bundy, ever the narcissist, chose to represent himself, treating the courtroom like a stage and cross-examining the very officers who captured him. He charmed the gallery and even proposed marriage to a witness while she was on the stand, displaying a chilling disconnect from the gravity of his crimes.
But the evidence was overwhelming. Bite mark analysis, a new science at the time, linked him definitively to the Chi Omega attacks, sealing his fate.
He was sentenced to death 3 times. For years he sat on death row, trading confessions for time, hinting at more victims buried in the mountains.
As the date of his execution approached in 1989, the charm evaporated, leaving a terrified man bargaining for his life with details of murders he had long denied.
He blamed pornography. He blamed his upbringing. He blamed society. But he never truly showed remorse for the lives he stole or the families he destroyed.
On January 24, 1989, crowds gathered outside Florida State Prison, cheering and lighting fireworks as the electric chair ended the life of Ted Bundy. With his death, the media storm subsided, but the scars he left on the American psyche remained, changing how we view trust, strangers, and safety.
Before Bundy, the term serial killer wasn't even in common parlance. He forced law enforcement to rewrite the book on profiling and interstate cooperation. But while his name became infamous, it is crucial that we remember not the killer, but the vibrant lives he extinguished. Young women with bright futures, students, daughters, and friends, whose stories were cut short by a man who treated people as possessions.
The true legacy of this dark chapter isn't the mythology of a criminal mastermind, but the resilience of the survivors and the pursuit of justice.
Ted Bundy was nothing more than a thief of life, a manipulator whose charm was a weapon, and whose memory serves as a grim warning from history. Today, we look back not to glorify the darkness, but to understand it, ensuring that we can recognize the monsters who hide behind a smile. The story of Ted Bundy is a reminder that evil doesn't always look like a monster. Sometimes it looks just like us.
Thank you for watching. If you found this case analysis compelling, please like and subscribe as we continue to uncover the history of true crime. Stay safe, stay observant, and we will see you in the next investigation.